Urgent, Commanders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Commanders news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Primary reason for high-profile Commanders staffing hire couldn't be clearer. Wes Welker's hiring comes with an underlying factor attached. The Washington Commanders are leaving no stone unturned in pursuit of improvements. Adam Peters is working to mold the roster into a leading Super Bowl contender once again. But a notable addition to the staff team also raised a few eyebrows around the league. According to Mike Rice from ESPN, the Commanders are hiring Wes Welker to be a personnel analyst. The former wide receiver is a decade removed from his All-Pro playing career and is coming off a successful stint as Miami Dolphins wide receivers coach from 2022 to 24. This is an intriguing development. Welker has some familiar faces in Washington to smooth the transition, with offensive Cliff Kingsbury being an old college teammate. He also crossed paths with Peters at 3 previous stops, the New England Patriots and Denver Broncos as a player, coupled with the San Francisco 49ers as a coach. And therein lies the clue to why the Commanders brought Welker into the fold. He'll have other responsibilities, of course, but some notable insight from Ben Standig from The Athletic made the biggest reason behind the hiring abundantly clear. Wes Welker hire can help Commanders get the most out of Deebo Samuel. This all centers around versatile weapon Deebo Samuel Sr., who was acquired from the Niners earlier this offseason for a 5th-round pick. Welker was the South Carolina Graduates wide receivers coach for the first 3 seasons of his professional career. Standig also revealed that he was the one who stayed on top of the wideouts training regimen when his weight began to fluctuate. It's the glue that holds this equation together. Welker knows how to bring the best out of Samuel. He knows what makes him tick and how to keep him focused at all times. If this relationship rekindles positivity in Washington, the better their chances will be. Samuel shouldn't be lacking in motivation. He was cast aside by the Niners, who took on more than $34 million in dead cap money to get this trade over the line. The fact that they ate so much cash to remove him from the equation suggests San Francisco's general manager John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan don't believe there is much left in the tank. Peters thinks differently. He's well versed in Samuel's mindset and skills. He knows what a fresh and motivated player could do for Washington's offense in 2024. An extension didn't arrive immediately, but guaranteeing his contract and adding some extra incentives was the vote of confidence he desperately needed. Having Welker around to keep him on the straight and narrow with high standards attached is only going to help the Commanders. Samuel is highly determined to silence his doubters. If his old coach can add more fuel to the fire and ignite the spark that was lacking at times last season, both the trade and the hire will be worth their weight in gold. Welker was the model professional who'd rub off positively on everyone, but there promises to be no bigger beneficiary than Samuel when it's all said and done. And if this holds the key to Samuel getting back to his old form, that's a win-win for everybody associated with the Commanders. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Commanders news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the ASAVU news. What's up with Commanders' Tyreek Hill trade rumor? The Washington Commanders have pushed all their chips into the middle of the table this offseason, with the trades for Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil to take advantage of Jaden Daniels' rookie contract. Both moves were seen as big gets for the new regime, but there are some who think the Commanders need to drop the hammer on an explosive offensive weapon despite the addition of Samuel. Bleacher Report's Morris Moton has named Tyreek Hill a potential trade candidate. This would give Daniels a receiver trio of McLaurin, Samuel, and Hill. Good luck stopping that. But completing that deal looks to be a tall order, and considering the Commanders have already traded away picks for Samuel and Tunsil, they have just 5 at the time of writing. In Moton's proposal, the Commanders give the Miami Dolphins a 2nd and a 6th-round pick in exchange for Hill and a 7th-round pick, so essentially Hill is traded for a 2nd-round selection. Is that enough? Not likely. But now we get into the money, and here is where the deal gets tricky. And the one major obstacle looms large. Per over the cap, Hill is guaranteed $27.6 million in 2025. Could Washington, which only has $26 million in cap space, fit that in? it would require some salary cap gymnastics from Adam Peters, and we haven't even spoken about the $29.9 million salary for Hill in 2026. Yet either, plus if Hill is traded before June 1st, the Dolphins would eat $28 million in dead money. But after June 1st, the franchise gets $14 million in cap savings and only $12 million in dead money. Looking at what Hill is set to earn in 2025 and 2026, could Washington pay that with a looming Terry McLaurin extension as well? That is hard to fathom. Samuel is a one-year $17.5 million rental, but Hill's salary for the next 2 seasons is a big chunk of change. So while Hill to the Commanders is a fun idea, there are a host of reasons why it doesn't work for Washington. Insider rips Commanders signing as worst of offseason. The Washington Commanders had quite the busy offseason this year following a surprise run to the NFC Champion game during the 2024-25 season. Washington acquired top stars like wide receiver Deebo Samuel and left tackle Laramie Tunsil to upgrade key positions of value around Offensive Rookie of the Year Jaden Daniels. Not every move the Commanders have made, though, has been celebrated positively. Washington gave former failed first-round defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw a 3-year, $45 million deal that pays the former Jet a whopping average of over $15 million per year. Kinlaw has never put up more than 5 sacks in a season and is on his 3rd team in as many years. It is staggering a deal of his moved as high as it did. With Washington. Sports Illustrated's Gilberto Manzano made it clear just how staggering by calling the move the worst of the offseason. This deal was worse than the Chicago Bears signing D.T. Grady Jarrett signing, because Kinlaw has never proved himself to be a consistent starter. The 2020 first-round pick of the 49ers was a disappointment over his 4 seasons in San Francisco. But maybe GM Adam Peters should get the benefit of the doubt because he drafted Kinlaw with the 49ers and might have noticed a player turning a corner during his lone season with the Jets. Rips Manzano, it's hard to give up on Kinlaw's physical gifts, but he's shown minimal progress in 5 seasons, has an average pass rusher, and struggles against the run. The Commanders probably would have been better off waiting for the draft to find a replacement for Jonathan Allen, who signed with the Vikings. Kinlaw will have a lot to prove after failing with both a contending team like the San Francisco 49ers and a failing one in the New York Jets. He and the Commanders are hoping that a change of scenery will do him well. 5 Commanders players who could be one and done with the team in 2025. These players could have short-lived stints with the Commanders. Adam Peters went about his business effectively. This offseason, there was a slight pivot from his early thought process, which stemmed from the Washington Commanders being in a position to contend much sooner than originally anticipated. Peters was more aggressive, making 2 bombshell trades for Deebo Samuel Sr. and Laramie Tunsil. He resigned a lot of players, who gave so much to the cause last season. Aside from splashing the cash on Javon Kinlaw, most free agents came in on 1-year deals. That became a recipe for success last time around. Peters is hoping for the same again, although having one of the league's oldest rosters could be risky business unless everyone gets a clear run of luck on the health front. The Commanders will be one of the hunted next season. It's been a long time since they could say that, so ensuring the new signings get up to speed and immersed in the team's culture shift is only going to help their cause. Some players will thrive. Others will fall by the wayside. That's all part of the business. But Peters is confident he's found the right formula to bring long-term prosperity to Washington. That won't be good news for everybody. With this in mind, here are 5 Commanders players who could be one and done with the team in 2025. Commanders. Players who could be one and done with the team. Eddie Goldman Commanders, DLT. The Washington Commanders released Jonathan Allen as a goodwill gesture before the legal tampering window opened. They did right by the defensive tackle, giving him a head start on finding a new home before eventually signing for the Minnesota Vikings. Adam Peters had a replacement lined up. The Commanders might have overpaid for Javon Kinlaw, but the player is highly determined to repay the faith shown by those in power. The general manager also knows him well from their time together with the San Francisco 49ers, so fans should trust his judgment. Eddie Goldman's arrival went almost unnoticed in comparison. The interior force penned a 1-year deal with the Commanders after coming out of retirement with the Atlanta Falcons in 2024. His production was solid. if not spectacular, but it'll be interesting to see if he can force his way into Washington's plans. Goldman should be fresher than most players his age, considering he's missed 3 of the last 5 seasons by his choice. Even so, it's difficult to envisage a scenario where his time in Washington is anything more than a short-term arrangement. Jacob Martin, Commanders, OLB the Washingtons. Commanders didn't do much to enhance their pass-rushing options this offseason. Adam Peters focused his attention on the interior, spending big money on Javon Kinlaw to provide the defensive front with a bigger, more imposing figure next season. And beyond, there's a good chance Washington addresses this complication during the 2025 NFL Draft. Peters only has 5 selections currently, so maximizing every available resource to find the right prospects will go a long way toward Washington making another deep postseason run. Next season, Jacob Martin was one of those acquired on a short-term deal in free agency. As a versatile piece with some decent production as a rotational threat, he also has a lot of the physical attributes Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. typically look for in their edge players. Projections about how Martin will be used are sketchy. Things should become clearer after the draft concludes, but a smooth transition could see the former 6th-round pick out of Temple become a key depth chart piece when it's all said and done. Martin needs to force his way into the team's plans first. Competition is growing across the board, so complacency cannot become an issue. After that, it's about doing enough to warrant another deal. Michael Gallup Commanders WR more than a few eyebrows were raised when the Washington Commanders ended Michael Gallup's brief retirement this offseason. He walked away from the game rather than take his chances with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now he gets the chance to re-establish himself under a coach he knows well. Gallup worked with Dan Quinn during their time together on the Dallas Cowboys. Third, an FC East club released him in 2023, which the player had difficulty dealing with. The wideout has his hunger for the game again and believes he can make a significant difference to the Commanders' offense with quarterback Jaden Daniels leading the charge. It hasn't cost the Commanders much to find out if Gallup has anything left in the tank. Cheese on the vet minimum deal and has no guarantees regarding involvement or even a place on the 53-man roster. Cheese starting from the bottom up, but this move brings more intrigue than most. There's no doubt Gallup was a dynamic playmaker at the peak of his powers. Those days are long gone based on his 2022 and 2023 production, but having a year off to heal his body and regain focus could be enough to return to something like his old form. If not, the Commanders can dispose of Gallup with little fanfare attached. Deatrich Wise Jr. Commanders DEAs previously mentioned, the Washington Commanders are banking on veterans signed to one-year deals in pursuit of fortifying their edge options on defense. It's a risky strategy from general manager Adam Peters, but expect a more explosive pass rusher to join the ranks in the 2025 NFL Draft. Deatrich Wise Jr. Was one of the proven performers acquired by the Commanders this offseason. He emerged as an outstanding player for the New England Patriots and came up through the Bill Belichick years. You don't do that without high-caliber production, the right attitude, and emerging leadership. Wise's role was reduced last season as the Patriots embarked on their youth movement. The Commanders are at the opposite end of the spectrum after reaching the NFC Championship game in 2024, having players who've been around. Winning operations previously is integral. Just what Wise's role will be hasn't been determined. He could start opposite Dorrance Armstrong Jr. at the defensive end spot. He could also be a key depth piece if the Commanders find someone capable of starting immediately during the draft. Either way, the former 4th-round pick out of Arkansas with 34 career sacks will be relishing the prospect of helping an ascending team take that next step. Whether that's enough to get another deal in 2026 is another matter. Deebo Samuel Sr. Commanders. This one would be the most disappointing. But wide receiver Deebo Samuel Sr.'s long-term outlook deserves closer examination. The Commanders thought Samuel had a lot of good football left. They managed to get the All-Pro for nothing more than a fifth-round selection, which could be an absolute steal if he bounces back from a down year by his typically high standards in 2025. Samuel is eager to silence his doubters. He's already working hard to ensure peak physical fitness when the time comes to resume team activities. The Commanders are counting on his versatility and playmaking prowess to form a devastating wide-out tandem with Terry McLaurin. They also hedged their bets. Instead of giving Samuel an extension this offseason following the trade, Peters guaranteed his 2025 salary and added an extra $3 million in potential incentives. This kept the wideout happy with some extra urgency in pursuit of another deal next spring. What comes next is down to Samuel. If he thrives in new surroundings, leads from the front, and produces the goods when called upon, the decision to offer him another contract will be an easy one. If the former second-round pick out of South Carolina cannot meet expectations, a situation could emerge where the Commanders cut their losses. And now, Commanders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Commanders. I'll be back any moment with more Commanders news. We want Dallas.